my question is about content and organization. I kind of a couple of months ago had that initial kind of accident content creation and just went with it by way of an interview that I failed on. And so I wanted to get better at something. So now that you guys are like knee deep in it, what is your process for planning?
Yeah, I could go first. Mine's very, very systematized at this point. Kind of going back to our main point here is when I first started, I don't think you're going to really know like what you want to post, how you want to say stuff. That process takes a little more time. And so it's hard to try to figure out how you're going to plan things because you just may not know what you want to say and how you want to say it. But the more you do it, I started getting into this space where it's like, all right, I'm wasting a lot of time every day. This is super applicable to Salesforce too, which is if you're working on a project at work and they ask you to do a different project, there's this gap in between of time lost because my head was over here. I was working on a flow. Okay, now I'm troubleshooting something in lean data. Okay, well, there's this gap because I got to take time to stop thinking about whatever I was thinking about, gear up and, okay, what's going on over here and what's happening. That same gap exists when you're creating content. And so for me, as I was doing that every day and I kind of knew what I wanted to say now, spending every day and gearing up my mind every single day to be like, okay, yeah, what am I going to say today? Let me write that down and try to get it out the door. It was a much easier process for me to just say, okay, Thursdays are my day. After work, I'm spending 2 to 3 hours and I'm just planning out for the next like 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm just never going to touch this for 2 or 3 weeks. That brings it way down as far as time that you spend. And it takes a lot of pressure and stress off to be able to do, I guess what we're all doing is he's still working 9 to 5. He's still got life. You got kids, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I just don't want to be spending time thinking about what I'm going to say tomorrow when I could just do that one day out of the week for the next 3 weeks. And so I do that. And then the tool I use for that on LinkedIn specifically is Buffer. You can use Buffer, and as long as you have 10 posts or less, it's free. If you do more than 10 posts scheduled out, it's $5 a month. So it's still really cheap. Another good one that you could try, this one's a little more expensive, but it's great for people that are just starting, is called Hype Fury. It's more geared towards Twitter, but it does allow you to post to LinkedIn. The cool part about it is if you don't know what to say and you don't know how to say it, and not what I talked about too with the format, they actually have a section in there and they've made a deal with certain influencers on Twitter and they feed all of their best tweets into that system. And so you can actually just look at their stuff, click a button that says reuse, and it just keeps the format for you and you just plug and play. The big trick behind content at this point in my life is not reinventing the wheel. Do not try to sit there and think, how do I come up with something brand new? If I see something that Adam posts that worked really well, I'm going to use his format and just plug in my own words for my own thing. It's not necessarily stealing or anything like that, right? We're just reusing the format of which it worked. So that's kind of been the big thing. And I think that was a big mental block when I started for people to be like, well, is that plagiarism? What am I doing? I got to come up with my own stuff. Then I started seeing every other big influencer and that's what they encouraged to do. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing that. Like, saves way more time. I'd rather do it this way. And you're not stealing anything, right? You're just stealing the way they wrote it. Okay, the first line, then there's a space. And then they have 3 bullet points and then a space. Okay, that seems to be working. I'm just going to take that, put in whatever I want. So Hype Fury and Buffer are big ones for that.
Can you spell out that second tool? That is a Hype, like HYPE?
Yep. And then okay. FURY.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Adam, your process.
Yeah, look, I'm a enterprise architect by trade, so I'm always creating slide decks, and that's what I do. And so I create those, like I do with a customer. So I'm I'm going to say I'm not a content creator as such, although I create content. That's what I do for my day job. So I'm more of a curator. So I'll already have the content, as part of those decks. I mean, I might create a presentation just because it might be going publicly available and there's a little bit more scrutiny over public relations and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's just general information anyway. So I I'm looking at the times that I post. So when I put 8 o'clock in the morning in Sydney, in Brisbane, is good. 11 o'clock at night is also good if it's a global market, because that's when the US is hot. That's when I feel the time to post is, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for me, just because Tuesday I get the US and I get kind of Australia is hot. If I post on Monday, US is still sitting on Sunday in their pajamas and Ugg boots, and it doesn't go that well. So the timing of the post is definitely really important. Megan, I watched one of Megan Tuano's videos. Megan, if you want to plug a YouTube channel, that'd be awesome. But she had some great tips, some tools and some great tips as well, of her process, and I really enjoyed that video. So but yeah, it's definitely whatever tool you use or whatever process you use, it is about consistency. Okay, so you have to find a balance, and wellness is really important, especially in today's world. So find a balance between work and giving back, or work and working on your brand and family that works well for you. But definitely schedule it in. So between 4 and 5, I'm doing this, not a moment more, because I want to go, take my kids to karate or something, right? So yeah, consistency is a key.
I love all those points. So context switching, to Jordan's point, takes time to switch between different modes of thought. To Adam's point, and I think you both mentioned it, right? Having a content calendar, knowing what you're going to say beforehand. And then to Adam's point, those optimal times, and they're going to change based on your social media network. So the optimal time for LinkedIn, not necessarily the same for Twitter. You can Google that. It's available information. I think just to quickly piggyback on that, then I do want to get a group shot. For me, I definitely have a content calendar. And so I will plan. I've got a 6-month program that I plan out who's going to be on the show. And then I take all of the attendance at all these various sessions, and I put them into CRM Analytics, formerly Tableau CRM, to see which were the most popular sessions. And then I know, okay, so this session hit really well because it was about recruiting. I need to have more recruiting sessions. Let me go back and see who I can pull in from recruiting. And that informs my decision-making process. And then, to Jordan's point about borrowing the format, all my social media posts are formatted, and if you've ever kind of taken a look at them, the ones on Monday all kind of look the same. The ones on Tuesday all kind of look the same, because they are. All I do is swap out words, concepts, things we talked about, but all the hashtags, all the @ mentions, the format of the picture, it's all done, and that way I can very quickly turn it around. So if you're putting out a lot of posts, that's helpful. If you're doing 1 or 2 a week, maybe not so much. But we're posting for office hours across 4 or 5 different networks, upwards of 15 times. So it's quite a bit.